very first reading was Reading Frederick Douglass in the Age of Obama. The lesson we learned from that experience was that the speech is the star. We've gathered to read this speech. My take on it was that Obama's election didn't free us from talking about race, it freed us to talk about race. And so it was a perfect time to reintroduce this speech and have us think about the kind of critical insights that Douglass gave us about that time and the extent to which they continued to apply even in the age of Obama.
The fact is, ladies and gentlemen, the distance between this platform and the slave plantation from which I escaped is considerable, and the difficulties to be overcome in getting from the latter to the former are by no means slight. That I am here today is, to me, a matter of astonishment as well as of gratitude.
Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us.
We've been speaking about the urgency of viewing African Americans as human beings since the beginning of time. This idea of having this conversation over and over again, it keeps coming up, but it's this urgency of like, we need it now. And so Frederick Douglass said it, but so many people have said it since then. We are still saying it in so many ways as different issues come up and legislation happens and world events are happening. We're constantly affirming the right to be human and to be safe and to be treated as such.
It did transform into Reading Frederick Douglass Together, which is very much this democratic idea that we read it together, but we kind of lose ourselves as individual actors within this larger collective. In that very first year, to have thought that we would be doing it for 15 years was beyond me.
When Frederick Douglass's third great-grandson spoke about him in Belfast, he said he had PTSD. Of course, it was undiagnosed, but he did. This man was sharing his trauma repeatedly to audiences. And I think sometimes we emotionally detach from it or we just look at it as a speech, but he's speaking about his real lived experience of not having food, being beaten, being kept away from people who loved him, not knowing what's gonna happen next. So this is his experience, but again, it's also the experience of African Americans during that time period.
The blessings in which you this day rejoice are not enjoyed in common. The rich inheritance of justice, liberty, prosperity, and independence bequeathed by your fathers is shared by you, not by me. The sunlight that brought life and healing to you has brought stripes and death to me. This 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice, I must mourn. To drag a man in fetters into the grand illuminated temple of liberty and call upon him to join you in joyous anthems were inhuman mockery and sacrilegious irony.
The psychology of it is just brilliant, right? You know, he draws you in, he takes you down, and then he lifts you back up, right? Douglass concludes with a hopeful phrase.
Notwithstanding the dark picture I have this day presented to the state of the nation, I do not despair of this country. There are forces in operation which must inevitably work the downfall of slavery. I, therefore, leave off where I began, with hope.
The effect of that is, in a way, to force you to think about doing better. Even as we see the horrors of George Floyd and other things, we have to think about whether we can follow in Douglass's steps in terms of committing ourselves to fighting injustice in ways that make that hope real.
I think it is just inherent in African Americans to be hopeful no matter what. That is who we are culturally. No matter what is happening, we are going to find joy and hope in our experience. It's our resistance, it's our resilience. It's how we made it through centuries, always thinking that something better is going to come, it will get better. There is still something beautiful in the chaos that's happening. So I think it's just inherent in African American culture as well.